So somebody said something interesting a couple of weeks ago while I was reading into some stuff, and that, you know, there's people out there that only understand the concept of the past, and they only understand the concept of of the present. They don't understand the concept of the future, which is apparent in their everyday decision making. They make decisions based off of how they feel right now, this moment right now, and how they felt about something in the past. They don't make decisions based off of how that may affect the future. I had a passenger who kind of sort of indirectly admitted this. She was drunk as a motherfucker and she was like twice my age, and she was like, yeah. Keep in mind, I didn't ask her any questions. I didn't even talk to her. She just got in the car and started rambling, as some drunk people do. But yeah, she admitted out of her own mouth that she only cares about life right now because she's alive right now. She's not worried about the future. She's worried about what's going on right now. And I have noticed that because narcissism and borderline affect the same parts of the brain, it can be very hard to distinguish the two. Because I've noticed that if you cause a narcissist a great enough narcissistic injury, they become obsessed with you, sort of like how a borderline, but borderlines become obsessed with you even if you don't cause them, I don't know, do borderlines have something called a borderline injury? If they do, I'm assuming it's triggered under different conditions, but I've noted, like, I was asleep, man. And, I be antagonizing the cattle on forums and shit, man. One dude tagged me like 7 fucking times because I got him to admit twice in one day that I was right, but he tried to word it in a way that he was disagreeing with me, even though he basically said exactly what I said. Just, changed 1 or 2 words around it and tried to say I was wrong about it. But yeah, when you cause a narcissist a great narcissistic injury, they become obsessed with you like a borderline. And you guys see it even with my channel. Dude number 2 made 2 40-minute long videos about me that I'm not going to watch because I said in my reply to him, this will be my last comment to you. And I meant that. Once you cross a certain line of hypocrisy, there's no reason to engage with you because you're basically admitting that you don't think that contradictions and hypocrisy is... You don't think that it invalidates what you're saying, which is cool. I don't gotta engage. But the reason I'm bringing up these people is because why does this happen? They're focused on how they feel right now. You proved them wrong, and that made them angry at you right now, this moment. You proved them wrong in the past, so that makes them feel a certain way about you right now, in this moment. They're not gonna reassess the situation and analyze why this made them so angry in the first place. They're not gonna sit down and think, damn, this guy was correct. Maybe I should rewire my thought process so he doesn't prove me wrong again in the future. That's not how these people operate. And I haven't even ate my breakfast yet, man. But yeah, I'm gonna eat my breakfast. Salmon and white rice from Sushi Hannah. And I got my shake from Dunkin'. Gonna make this video with my breakfast, and I got a lot of shit to do. But it's funny how something so simple can put everything into perspective, but it just goes to what I always say, man. Truth is simple. Okay? The vast majority of cattle orcs walking around, this is how they operate. They're like animals. They are animals. They're not humans. They've downgraded to the state of an animal to the point where some of these people actually argue that humans are animals. All because they know they've been reduced to the state of an animal. And like animals, animals only know the right now and the past. their minds aren't developed enough to think about the future and long-term consequences of their actions. There are some special exceptions, animals that have above average intelligence compared to an animal. They do show that they understand that their actions have consequences. I saw this firsthand with my mom's cat, Shadow. You know, she had like, she got angry at me and she did her business next to my weights downstairs. So I took a little nose and I rubbed it in her business. And after that, she never did it again. Instead, she only did her business to the other family members of the house because they knew those family members wouldn't punish her. So, and it's sad because if a fucking cat can develop this level of understanding to the future, that, hey, don't disrespect this guy's stuff or he's gonna punish you, but I can go ahead and disrespect the other family members. If a cat can fucking realize that they shouldn't be doing something because there's negative consequences, why can't the fucking cattle orcs realize that? I'll tell you why. Because right now, we live in the no accountability era. And stacked with recent data that shows that narcissism is something that's bred into people and it's not something that you're born with. Stacked with the fact that we know narcissism is higher than ever. A lot more people have this shit than what the internet, Google, and Wikipedia say. Google and Wikipedia say it's only 1%. It's way more than 1% of people, especially among the younger generations. And I'll admit it, man, they fooled even me. I made a video way back in the day called the Toontown SJWs, and in that video, I quoted how researchers, scientists, and doctors were estimating that 30 to 50% of future generations will be born on the spectrum. They fooled even me. They had even me worrying about this autism shit, focusing on that, while a much more serious disease has been born underneath the surface, has become more widespread. We all were focused on the spectrum. We all were focused on the autism. It was a distraction. Now, make no mistake, you can be autistic and narcissistic at the same time. Anybody who's ever played the previous games I've mentioned, y'all saw that every day, right? But, man, they had us focusing on something that wasn't nearly as severe and important as the narcissistic epidemic that's arising. And if you look at a narcissist brain scan, again, they only focus on the right now and the past. They don't focus on the future. Okay? And I've banned the vast majority of these people from my channel now, but those of y'all who have been here for a while, y'all can kind of remember the type of comments that these people were typing. The blatant hypocrisy. This again, I've been using this as an example for a long time, right? In the Toontown SJW video, I mentioned that there was one person I knew who claimed he broke the law with an underage girl, right? This was just what he said. I had no proof he actually did this, but it didn't matter because I know how chicks get down. I know that chicks are not waiting until 16, 17, 18 to start fucking like people on the internet think. I know the real age chicks start getting busy. But people got angry at me because I did nothing about that one guy who, again, he only claimed he did something, but they turned a blind eye to Sperry. Sperry in his video about me, and then he just fucking lies. He said the video had nothing to do with me, but I typed a comment pointing out, dude, you mentioned in your own video you knew over 50 people guilty of the same shit, but you knew they were guilty of it. It wasn't just hearsay. You knew they were guilty of it. Over 50 people, you turned a blind eye to it, and everybody in that community turned a blind eye to what Sperry said. They got angry at me for turning a blind eye to one person, and who I don't even have a problem with what he did because I know these chicks I know how these chicks get down. But they got angry at me for that one. But people like Sperry and Dude Number 2 and all these other guys, they turn a blind eye to 50 confirmed cases. But Why does this happen? Because I make these people feel a certain way. Because they're angry at me right now, they don't care about how living in hypocrisy will affect their future. They don't care that I'm telling them the correct age that people begin to have sexual thoughts. They don't care that by ignoring this, if they ever have a daughter in the future, this is a problem they'll be ill equipped to deal with. And then when their daughter is attracted to a guy like me, they got a whole myriad of other problems in their household. They don't care about this because their minds can't conceptualize the future. All they know is that they're angry at me right now. They're angry at the truth right now. So right now, they're going to discard what is true because they're angry at it right now. And then 50 years later, you're going to see these people on TV. Man, I don't know what happened. I did everything right. I was a good parent. No, you weren't. Because a good parent starts thinking about their children's future long before they ever have children. That's why I warn you motherfuckers, have your fun, but don't reproduce with chicks who can't take this path, man. Now, my homeboy who did what he said he did, if he's telling the truth, and again, he said he only got head from the chick, so you can't reproduce with just oral. But if he's telling the truth, because again, I never fact-checked this, man. I never asked a chick if he was telling the truth, because I didn't care. This is so fucking normal. Remember, I was a teenager in the era where, you know, Twitter just got invented. Facebook was something that older people mostly used. MySpace was already dead. So, and Instagram just came out like my fucking junior year in high school. So, I grew up as a teenager in an era where social media was just beginning. Because of that, there was not this widespread pretendance that we don't know the age that girls start to have sex at. We don't know the age of men that these girls prefer. There wasn't this widespread pretendance, so I heard about situations like this happening on a daily basis. Nobody did anything about it because we were going outside. If you wanted to make friends, you had to go outside. It was not an era where you could just sit on the computer and play fucking video games and download Discord and join a server and make friends with a bunch of other losers who weren't going outside. No, you had to go outside. And I was outside every day. I'm still outside every day. I haven't gone outside, I think, once in the span of 2 years, and that's because I had food poisoning earlier this year. That was the only time I didn't go outside, and that was one time out of the last 2-3 years. So it was a different era, and because it was a different era, narcissism was a lot more mitigated because you had to go outside. And because you were going outside and you were seeing how chicks actually get down, you didn't have this shield around you that blocked you from seeing the truth. Now, if you're the average 16-year-old right now who spent their whole lives on the internet and never went outside, then yeah, when Google and Wikipedia tells you that chicks are going to wait until they're 25 to have sex, of course you're going to believe that because you have nothing else. You have no other data to compare it to because you're sitting in the house all fucking day. And these people, they don't care about how sitting in the house all day is going to affect their future. All they know is right now, they're protected from pain. Right now, they're protected from trauma. Right now, they're protected from chaos. Well, guess what, motherfuckers? You need a balance of order and chaos. Too much order And too little chaos means you become stagnant and you're never put in situations that will force your growth, that will force you to adapt. Because in order to evolve, you must first adapt, and long-term adaptation eventually becomes evolution. However, too much chaos and not enough order puts you in a permanent destructive state to where you have no stability in the first place. You need a balance of both. And with this balance of both, you begin to understand that your past actions will determine who you are at the present, and who you are at the present and your present decision making will affect your long-term consequences. I'm done, motherfuckers. I said all I need to say in this video. My stomach is growling. I want to eat my food. Fuck y'all, except the ones who get it. Catch y'all in the next video. Don't take my video down, YouTube. This video is for education and comedic purposes with some satire, motherfuckers.